What happens when the person who betrayed you, humiliated you, and thought they could just move on with life, finds themselves trapped in the most pathetic downfall imaginable? I'm talking about my ex, Connor. He once thought he'd escape the weight of his actions. Instead, he's stuck pushing protein shakes in a pyramid scheme, abandoned by everyone, and unable to crawl back to normal life. And the best part, I didn't even have to lift a finger this time. If you've ever craved that deep, soul-satisfying taste of justice, you're in the right place. Hit that subscribe button, drop a like, and tell me in the comments, what's the most satisfying revenge you've ever witnessed? This is a story about karma, delivered in the most poetic way possible. Let's dive in. When you've been burned, deeply, personally, you learn to live with a knot in your stomach. For me, that knot had a name. Connor. He wasn't just any guy. He was the boy I grew up with. The one I trusted. The one I led into every corner of my life. And he destroyed that trust with a level of betrayal that scarred me for years. Back then, when the truth came out, his lies, his affairs, the way he dragged my name through the mud, I felt powerless. Anger doesn't even describe it. My chest was tight every day. My hands shook with the weight of humiliation. And at night, I lay awake staring at the ceiling, replaying every detail. I couldn't eat without nausea, couldn't hear his name without feeling rage boiling in my veins. The injustice was crushing. But here's the thing about feeling powerless. It can ignite something darker, something sharper. I made a promise to myself. Connor wasn't going to walk away unscathed. And if you listen to the first part of my story, you know I delivered. Piece by piece, I dismantled his chances at climbing back up. I exposed him. I left him without opportunities, without credibility, without the ability to just move on, while I was left holding the pain. Yet even after all of that, part of me couldn't stop checking in. Maybe you know that feeling, when someone hurts you so badly, you almost obsess over whether karma has caught up with them. So every now and then, I'd peek at his social media, not because I missed him. No, it was like checking the pulse of my revenge. Was it still working? Was he still struggling? Or was he finding a way to crawl out of the hole he dug? That's when I saw it. A post. Bright, flashy, full of self-congratulation. Connor, announcing to the world that he was now a shareholder in a brand new fitness brand. I remember the way my stomach dropped when I first read it. My heart pounded, my palms sweaty. Could he actually be rebuilding? Was all my work undone? For a moment, I feared the worst, that somehow he was clawing his way back into respectability. But then I thought about it logically. This was Connor, the man still living in his mother's house, because he couldn't afford rent. The man who had failed his driver's license exam multiple times and couldn't afford to try again. The man who couldn't get a job because everyone in our small city knew his face, his name, and his reputation. Thousands of people knew exactly what he had done to me. Employers talk, neighbors talk. The whispers followed him everywhere. So I asked myself, how could that man suddenly be a shareholder in a flashy new company? My gut told me it didn't add up. And when something doesn't add up, you dig. And oh, did I dig. I combed through the so-called company's website. I cross-checked their actual shareholder list. Guess what? Connor's name wasn't on it. Not even close. And then it hit me like a lightning bolt. This wasn't a fitness brand. This was a pyramid scheme. A classic scam. You know the type. Overpriced protein powder. Absurd claims about financial freedom. Glossy Instagram posts showing rented Lamborghinis. And there was Connor, proudly creating a second account just to hawk their garbage. Posting like his life depended on it. The saddest part? Each post barely scraped 5 likes. 5. In that moment, My fear melted into something else, pure satisfaction. I had driven him into such a corner, stripped away so many of his lifelines, that his only opportunity was to join one of the most embarrassing, exploitative schemes on the planet. At first, instinct kicked in. I thought, all right, here we go again. Time to get him fired, just like before. Time to pull the rug out from under him. I was ready to sharpen my knives, ready to gather evidence, ready to strike. But then I paused. Why would I? Why would I save him from this? Because that's exactly what it would be. Rescuing him. If I exposed the pyramid scheme, if I sabotaged his attempt, I'd be doing him a favor. Because the truth was, Connor wasn't in a real company. He wasn't building anything. He was just another desperate recruit at the bottom of a scam that would eat his money, his pride, and his sanity alive. So I did nothing. And that decision, that choice to let him stew in his own misery, was the sweetest act of revenge I'd ever tasted. Because for once, I didn't have to lift a finger. He was destroying himself. Every time I scrolled past his half-hearted posts, him begging for followers, posting motivational quotes like some kind of knockoff influencer, I laughed. His captions screamed desperation. His comments section was a graveyard. And the people he grew up with, the ones who remembered him as the golden boy, the one who thought he could betray me and walk away, they saw it too. They saw how far he had fallen. The irony was delicious. The man who once made me feel powerless, trapped, and humiliated was now the one truly trapped. Not in my schemes, not by my hand, but in a system designed to chew him up and spit him out. And here's the kicker. Where I live, there are only 3 crimes considered actual felonies: taking a life, sexual assault, and counterfeiting money. Everything else, misdemeanors. Which means even if Connor's past caught up with him again, this scam wouldn't care. They don't screen for felons. They don't screen for anything. As long as you can pay the buy-in, they'll take you. And Connor, with nothing left, paid his way into a cage of his own making. It's hard to explain the relief I felt. For years, I carried the weight of watching my back, always wondering if he'd resurface, if he'd somehow rebuild and try to hurt me again. But now I realized he couldn't hurt anyone. He wasn't a threat. He wasn't even a man climbing back up. He was a man drowning, clutching at straws, fooling himself into thinking he was on the rise. And me, for the first time in years, I felt light. I felt free. It was like I had been holding my breath for so long, and suddenly I could exhale. I nearly forgot I even had this knowledge. That's how much peace it brought me. Because knowing he was stuck there, knowing he was powerless, humiliated, and rotting in that scam, was enough. And Connor, if you ever hear this, if you ever think about me again, let me make it clear. Go to hell. You'll be waiting for me to die before you can even dream of living a normal life again. That's not anger talking. That's justice. So here's the beautiful irony. After all the pain he caused me, after all the times he tried to act untouchable, karma found the perfect punishment. He isn't living some glamorous new life. He isn't rebuilding a future. He's stuck, shouting into the void, trying to sell snake oil that no one wants. He's the definition of irrelevant. And I don't even have to raise a finger. His downfall sustains itself. That's the best revenge of all. Not just watching your enemy fall, but watching them dig their own grave, brick by brick, while you finally blissfully move on. Revenge doesn't always look like grand gestures or dramatic takedowns. Sometimes, the most satisfying justice is simply letting someone's own choices consume them. Sometimes you don't have to destroy them. Their own arrogance, their own desperation will do it for you. If you've ever felt the sweet burn of karma working in your favor, hit that like button and subscribe for more stories like this. And tell me in the comments, what's the most satisfying downfall you've ever witnessed? Until next time, remember, sometimes the best revenge is silence and letting life do the work for you.